Monokuma no Riddle. Written by Castlefall. Read by Rashi. Chapter 1. This world is filled with what? Running. Keep running. Focus. Focus on the target. That's your only job. Throw your knives at the target. Slip through the opposition. Jump through the window. Throw your final knife. The shrill scream of a whistle ends the tunnel vision.
That completes the training, his teacher called. One fit candidate, Kaito Momota.
Year 10, Class Black. Kaiba, the director of this place, fiddled with a pair of dice in his hands. You were practically raised in this dark little world of ours, so you must have at least heard of it. True, but he never gave it much thought. He never really gave anything much thought, except for the sky at night. You'll soon be transferred to Class Black. Your objective is to kill the designated target before anyone else. The target will be another high school boy, chosen for ulterior reasons. As for the rest of your carefully handpicked classmates, they'll also be assassins. His tone was so cheery, it was a little irritating. Their backgrounds run the gamut. Some are trained professionals like yourself. Some of them just find murder to be an act of pleasure. The student to complete the assignment will be rewarded with anything they could wish for. Money, power, whatever you can think of. So, Kaito, just what is it that you want most? Nothing. Maybe that wasn't entirely true, Kaito thought in the shower. Space was interesting. Maybe he'd ask to be rocketed into the atmosphere, live up there for the rest of his life. He sighed. No, that was childish. A dream left over from younger years that were long since over. I've nothing to distract me, he reminded himself. My only concern is to kill what must be killed. He walked out of the bathroom with a towel wrapped around his waist. On his bed, his phone buzzed with an email from Kaiba. What the hell did that bastard want now? Kaito flicked it open to see it was a riddle. The world is full of blank. Shortly afterwards, his phone began to ring. Hello, he answered with disinterest. Got an answer off the top of your head? Torment? Bzzzt! Wrong answer! Torment? You are one morbid bastard, huh? Is that the only reason you're calling? No. You know how I told you you'd be transferred because you were the most apt student? Well, that was a lie. A lie. Lies. Why did that sound so familiar? He could picture someone saying that to him a long time ago. It's a lie. I simply chose the most psychologically damaged and messed up kid I could find. Kaiba cackled. Kaito, your life's not worth a damn to anyone. Big surprise. Kaito rolled his eyes. And I don't care. So, will you kill to live, or live and let die? Those are your two options. Unless, of course, you attempt to let live and live. You're not making any damn sense, moron. He hung up on the director. Hope's Peak High School. The offspring of the most elite attend this academy. Children of politicians, pop stars, the rich, anyone with a bit of cash. Kaito was told it would take a few days for all the other Class Black students to arrive, so until then, he was going to familiarize himself with the layout of the place. He walked towards what was supposed to be his home room. The door was slightly ajar, instantly putting him on edge. As he walked closer, he could hear a soft voice reading aloud. Student number 1, Kaito Momota. Student number 2, Miu Iruma. Number 3, Maki Harukawa. He leaned in the doorway, peering into the room. It was a boy, a young boy, with pale skin and a checkered scarf around his neck. The sunlight glinted off his dark purple hair, giving him a sort of halo effect. Similar colored eyes were firmly locked on the paper in front of him as he read. Number 13. Me, Kokichi Ouma. He lay it down on his desk and sighed. No matter what, I will graduate. This boy must have noticed him then, because he turned towards him with a semi-surprised look on his face. Oh, are you part of Class Black too? Kaito took a step back, bumping straight into someone. He whipped around, reaching behind his back for his knife. Ah! A guy, slightly shorter than he was, stumbled backwards. He quickly recovered, though, and smiled innocently. He didn't seem like a threat, so he dropped his hand. Class is starting. I take it this is your homeroom? Yeah. Kaito nodded and ducked into the room. He took a seat near the back, watching as 3 others entered the room. Welcome to Class Black. The teacher grinned. I'll be your homeroom teacher, Mr. Naegi. I've been teaching for 3 years, and biology is my specialty. But this is my first homeroom, so it's nice to meet ya. He was just an average putz, so how did Kaito not hear him coming up behind him? As of today, Class Black will be your home for the next year. Mr. Naegi's eyes lit up with hope. So, you guys can think of me as your big brother. One of the girls in front began to giggle.
You're so friendly, Mr. Naegi. She laughed. The most pathetic trait a person can have.
And what's your name?
I'll gladly introduce myself. She shot out of her chair. Class Black student number 2, Mistress Miu Iruma. You're too young to be teaching. I need a more experienced man, 40 and up to teach me anything new. What? A blue-haired girl chuckled. 40 years old? That's like a senior citizen. 40 is nowhere even near old. Maybe I should kill ya. Oh, come on. Not trying to make you angry. By the way, I'm student number 10, Samuki Shirogane.
Mr. Naegi awkwardly laughed. Hey, don't you 2 ladies go fighting over me now? He opened a folder, probably a class list. So, next up, we've got student number 1. That was his cue then. He stood up, the rest of the class turning to gaze curiously at him. I'm student number 1, sir, he said flatly. Kaito Momota. Huh, Momota. Miu looked semi-impressed.
As in the... You think he's related?
Samugi whispered. Oh, and the name Kaito? It means ocean or something like that, if you look at the kanji right. His frown deepened. I'm telling you now so you don't ask me later. Then he sat back down. Okay, next on the list is student number 12. A boy with a hat covering most of his face suddenly flinched, but he didn't move. Hi? Number 12? I'll do it later. In the dark, he mumbled. I only do things when the sun goes down. Don't make me say it again. Moving on. We've got one more. The boy he saw reading the class list earlier stood. Me, I'm student number 13, he grinned. Kokichi Ouma. If Kaito didn't know any better, he would have thought his smile turned a bit sinister. I'm sure we'll all get along. Kokichi Ouma. Actually, I thought it might nice to have a token of our new acquaintance. He dug around in his pocket and pulled out a few handmade charms. So, I made cell phone straps for everyone. Don't worry, I haven't rigged them with anything. Yet.
Wow, thanks.
Samugi gasped happily.
They're so cute.
I had some spare stuff around the house and I got bored, so I made them. Didn't have anywhere else to put them, so I thought I'd give them to you guys. The kid gave all of them one, even Kaito. He didn't want it. He took it anyway, intending to toss it later. After class got out, he leaned against one of the windows in the hall, typing out a brief report. Arrived in Class Black, currently 5 present, collecting intel, answers to riddle, idiots, trash, banality, ignorance, insanity, disappointment. A simple click. It was all gone. A few seconds later, he got a reply. All wrong. You sure are an idiot. He rolled his eyes. He got called that enough that it didn't have an effect anymore.
Nice view up here, huh?
Tsumugi appeared next to him.
And it's not just pretty, you know. It's got fun stories. Like about how all the workers suffered non-stop accidents while constructing the school. Or how there used to be a cemetery here, but they just built on top of it.
She turned to him with an eerie smile.
You see, I've always gone here, so I'm in the know. So, what do you say we team up? I've got no problem being your underling.
No thanks, Kaito scoffed. Has the target been confirmed?
Oh, it's not you. That much I know for sure. She giggled. You've got the stink of trouble all over.
You think so? He turned back to the window. The most likely target is Kokichi Ouma. He smells like obvious prey.
Yeah, but I don't think you want to let your guard down around him.
She held up the phone chain he'd given her.
It's gotta be a GPS or a listening device.
She opened the window.
Not fooling me.
He didn't know why, but he quickly threw his hand out and grabbed the chain as it fell. It's not a big deal, really. I don't think it's anything more than a cell phone strap. That's weird. Why did he care? It's wasteful to just toss it like that. You obviously don't want it, so I'll keep it for myself. He didn't even want the one he gave him. And now he had two. He heard a whooshing sound and quickly turned and caught another one flying towards his face. Mew stood in the middle of the hall with a sneer. I don't want that crap either, she huffed. He sent a glare her way for throwing something at him. Dang, dude, you look scary. Take a look at yourself. I'm not gonna hide my true nature. She placed a hand on her chest. You see? I'm gonna win this dumb class. The target is likely number 13. Tsumugi tilted her head.
You never can tell.
Kaito was walking towards the dorm rooms when he heard a tiny voice call out to him. Hey, Momota! Kokichi popped up by his side. Remember me? It turns out I'm your roommate. He sent him a little grin. Mind if I walk with you on the way to the dorm? Yeah, sure. I don't mind. He shrugged. Good, 'cause I was going to anyway. He marched alongside him, babbling about how huge the place was and how fast Kaito walked. They went into the food court. Kokichi never seemed to stop talking. It all blurred into noise. He'd never met anyone who talked as much as he did. I just want to enjoy life, you know. Kokichi took a swig of some grape-flavored soda. And I promise you this. I'll graduate without fail. You seem rather anxious about that achievement. Did this mean he knew? Huh? Well, yeah. He leaned forward slightly. The reason why was told to him as they crossed the tiny bridge to their dorm. I haven't been to much school before now. Some stuff happened when I was younger. Long story, but that's why I'm happy to be here. Kaito found himself staring. He couldn't figure out what he smelled like. The smaller boy caught him and just smiled. Tsumugi was waiting for them at the dorms. What's up, Kokichi? Kaito? Miss Tsumugi! Kokichi ran up to her like a small child. Just Tsumugi. I'm not a teacher. She chuckled, waving her hand in front of her. You know, Kaito, you sure are lucky you're roommates with Kokichi here. Don't do that, Kaito sighed. There's no reason that you should address me so casually. Call me Mr. Momota. What? Are you serious? Dead serious. He let himself smirk a bit. There was something off about her. She had a putrid ocean stench. Mr. Kaito! Both froze and looked at the boy between them. Let's compromise. From here on, you're our Mr. Kaito. He pointed at him with a cheeky grin. Ugh, you can do what you want. Kaito pressed a hand to his forehead. Dealing with this kid. His reaction to seeing their dorm room only made him seem more childlike. It was like he'd never seen something like this before. Well, It wasn't like Kaito had either, but he had more pressing matters on his mind.
Amazing! It's so spacious, like a nice hotel.
Kokichi bounced from place to place. Meanwhile, Kaito sought out every possible bug or microphone and tossed them into the trash. The smaller boy called from the bedroom.
Which bed do you prefer, Mr. Kaito? Whoops! I just kinda flopped down on one without asking. Sorry!
I'm fine with either. As Kaito turned around, he caught the hem of Kokichi's shirt rising just enough to reveal a scar. A massive, jagged one at that. The smaller boy must have noticed his stare, because he instantly tugged his shirt down. Those look like scars from a dull blade, Kaito said as he drew near. Let me see.
No way! Kokichi sputtered. I mean, they're not pretty to look at.
Just lift up your shirt.
Eh? We've only just met, and you're already trying to seduce me?
That's not what I meant.
I'd just rather not.
He frowned and shifted his gaze to the side.
They're just scars from a long hospital stay after an incident.
All right, then. Kaito stood, as if he were going to back off as the smaller boy sighed, and abruptly lifted his hand, catching onto the edge of the shirt. He got a better view of that long, jagged scar. It wrapped around from his back to stomach. Kokichi squeaked and shoved his shirt down again with a beet-red face.
Okay. You're not very nice, huh?
He pouted, again like a small child. Kokichi insisted on helping him with the roll call. Why he was even allowed it, he didn't know. As they were walking around, they came across two girls, one small with red hair and a witch's hat, one slightly taller, with pinwheels in her hair.
Yeah, have a good night.
The smaller one waved.
Thanks, you too.
Kokichi waved back. Wait, are you in grade school? Kaito raised an eyebrow. What are you doing up here?
Yeah, grade. I'm not.
She's a transfer student to Year 10 Class Black, you degenerate males. The taller one hissed. Just like the rest of us.
Oh, you're our classmates?
Kokichi asked curiously.
Well, it's nice to meet you.
I'm student number 9 on that list, Tenko Chabashira. The taller one placed her hands on her hips.
I'm number 4.
The smaller one yawned.
My name's Himiko Yumeno. It's nice to meet the two of you.
The next room they came to, Kokichi got smacked in the face by the door. Idiot. Should have stood farther away. A boy with green hair and a mysterious vibe looked down with a piece of pocky in his mouth. Geez. Sorry. He chuckled. Kaito glanced at the list. I guess you've arrived. He addressed the boy flatly. I take it you're Rantaro Amami? You already know who I am. He looked up at him with a smirk. Process of elimination. You're not Mew. How perceptive. Mistress Mew is in the shower right now. He reached down and took Kokichi's hand. As he pulled him up, his expression turned curious. Now, that seems like a sweet little hand, incapable of doing anything bad.
Well, I guess. I don't really need hands to lie.
Kokichi shrugged as he was helped to his feet. Rantaro held up a box of pocky. Want some? I don't. Don't be like that. Go on and take 'em. There were a few thrown like knives his way. In a practiced motion, Kaito used the dormitory book to block the sweet assault. Whoa, nice reflexes.
Rantaro, it's rude to throw food at people outside the cafeteria.
Kokichi poked the green-haired boy in the side a few times with a smile. Aren't you precious? Rantaro giggled, ruffling his hair. Right-handed. Huh. Kaito lowered the book, now that the threat had passed. Who knows? He shrugged. I could be left-handed. Or maybe I'm ambidextrous.
I have a question. Why are you always so bristly?
Kokichi asked, as they walked down a dark portion of the hallway.
Why don't you ever smile? Try it. Like this.
He turned to him with his fingers pointed at his mouth. He just stared at the smaller boy. Words came out of his mouth without any control. Your smell. It's so...
My smell? Do I stink?
Kokichi wrinkled his nose.
But I just showered.
No, that's not how I meant it. Kaito shook his head. It's this kind of dusty smell. Makes me want to sneeze.
What? You don't know that smell?
A voice came from down the hall. They both turned to see the boy with the hat from earlier, the one who didn't introduce himself. But his hat was off, and a twisted smile on his face. That particular smell is what they call the smell of sunny places. Yo, the sun's finally set, so I've come to do it.
To do what?
Kokichi hid slightly behind the taller boy. To introduce myself, of course. Name's Shinsei Hara, the daytime boy is Shuichi. It's nice to meet you. Not really. Kaito felt his headache coming back.
Okay, zip your lips, brat. Talking is prohibited. To put it simply, people in different positions don't understand each other. Is that clear enough? Why bother with them? It's a waste of your damn time. Look at it like this. What's the point of getting to know someone if you're just going to put a bullet in them? Trust me, there are things in this world you're better off not knowing.
Kaito jerked away and sat up in his bed. He'd fallen asleep in his day clothes somehow. It might have been late, but might as well take a shower.
Kaito, please don't end up hating me. Even once you get to know me.